bizarre and horrifying Instagram stalker. This is my story about a friend I made on Instagram. I say friend loosely as this online friend became my most chilling nightmare. I was 21 years old and had recently graduated from college with a major in economics. For the most part, I'm an introvert and don't make friends easily. Much of my time outside work I spend at home with my cat reading. Not being super social, I never had a Facebook or Instagram or any other social media account. I lived at home still with my mom, as my dad had passed away in a car accident years ago. My mom insisted that I make some friends and encouraged me to open an Instagram account. I did as she asked, and together we posted a few photos of me with my cat and many pictures of my mom's cooking. She is a fantastic cook, and her dinners are 5-star and look beautiful in their presentation, so I posted many of them. I connected with a few friends from high school and a handful from college and was beginning to have a great time. Being social on the internet is easier than in person for me. After a few weeks, a few people I didn't know made friend requests. They were friends of friends, and surprisingly, I got along with them well in chat. My life was becoming more interesting with online friends. One night, I got a friend request from someone I didn't recognize, and I couldn't find a connection with any of my online friends. But my experience so far has had such a positive effect on my otherwise dull life. And sure, I was still naive about the dangers of the internet, but I was making friends for the first time, and it felt so good inside. I accepted the request after I saw it was a girl about my same age. Her profile said she had attended the same local college I had just graduated from. This was great. I thought I'll make a real friend, which gave me many happy feelings. Her name in the profile was Brittany, and her interest dovetailed with mine nicely, meaning she liked to read and loved cats. I thought about private messaging her, but it was already late, and I did have work in the morning. So I told myself to message her tomorrow when I got home. As I prepared for bed, a message popped up on my cell phone. It was surprisingly Brittany. She and I must be on the same wavelength. I opened the message and it read, "Hey, it's me, Brittany. I hope it's not too late." Stupidly, I responded immediately, "Hi, Brittany, how are you?" I got into bed and we mostly chatted about our college life and places we liked to hang out. Everything was going great until Brittany asked what street you lived on and which house was mine. I am naive, especially for my age. Still, I'm not an idiot, so I just said I wasn't comfortable sharing that yet. I'm a bit shy, and this is my first meeting on the internet. Her reply made my heart stop. She rattled off my house number and street address and accompanied it with a picture of my house saying, "Oh, well, isn't this your house?" I was paralyzed, lying in my bed with my mind racing. How does she know where I live? I was frantically typing, "How do you know where I live?" when I heard a knock on the front door. My mind darted from the phone to the front door. Who would that be at 1:30 on a cold fall night? It's freezing outside. I sat up in my bed rigid with fear. The knocking came again a second time. It was louder than the first and far more aggressive and was accompanied by a harsh male voice demanding that I open the door. "Open the door or I'll break it down." I sat frozen motionless in my bed, too petrified to cry, too scared to answer. "Hannah," the man called out, "open this door." I freaked. How did he know my name? My name wasn't on my profile and I never told Brittany. Then came a second voice. "Hannah, it's me, Brittany." It was softer but clearly was a man's voice. My mind flashed. Could this be a prank? Is someone playing a joke on me? But my gut told me this was no practical joke and Brittany was a fake Instagram name. My mind began to focus as the banging on the door continued. I dialed the police. As the emergency operator picked up, a gunshot rang out, and the door splintered near the handle but well below the deadbolt. I was horrified and panicked. Then came the voice again through the cracked doorframe. "Hiya, Hannah, it's me, Brittany." I screamed. "I've called the police and they are on their way." This didn't disturb him. I saw his fingers come through the splintered frame and try to open the deadbolt that secured the door. I grabbed a brass candle holder and slammed it at his fingers. I heard the man grunt in pain from behind the door, and then sirens further down the street. The fingers disappeared, and I heard loud footsteps as he ran away. The police to my statement, but I could not give much detail as I never saw the man's face. As far as I know, the man was never captured, which still terrifies me, knowing that he is still out there and knows where I live. Never trust a friend request from someone you don't know. They may not be who they say they are. I'm a 19-year-old guy, and last fall I noticed a new follower on Instagram. I went to see who it was, and it was an attractive girl who appeared to be my age. I clicked on her profile and saw that most of her pictures received 400 to 500 likes, and she seemed hot. I followed her back, and the next day she sent me a direct message saying, "Hey, what's up?" We talked and we had a lot in common. After about a week of chatting on Instagram, we decided we wanted to meet up. She said she worked downtown and asked me to meet her on Broadway around 9 Saturday night to hang out. The conversations went well, and I asked her for her Snapchat, but she refused, saying she only used Instagram. I was somewhat nervous to see her because she looked so wonderful and really out of my league, so I drove to Broadway a little early. I texted her to let her know I was near the location she had described, and she responded that she was in a black Beamer parked 2 cars up from me. She saw me park. I looked and saw the BMW. She said, "Park your car and join her to go to her favorite late-night restaurant." I locked my car and headed over to hers. As I came closer, I noticed the car's windows were heavily tinted. Something in my brain said something wasn't right about this, and I turned and sprinted back to my car and away. Things still felt weird, so I made random turns and noticed I had a tail. Despite going down different streets with many other options to turn, the car continued to follow me. We played this cat and mouse game for about half an hour before the car finally gave up. I drove home, taking the longest, least direct way I could manage. When I got home and checked my Instagram account, all the messages were still there, which surprised me. I reported this to Instagram, and 24 hours later, they said that the account was genuine but had been hacked. The girl had nothing to do with the messages. What the black BMW had planned for me, I don't know. My gut instinct kept me out of a chilling nightmare, I suspect. Instagram stalker nightmare. I was in my senior year at Columbia University in New York City when this Instagram stalker nightmare occurred. I was 21 and should have known better. I lived with classmates in an apartment we rented that was far from campus. This meant that I took the subway to and from class. I'm a petite girl but grew up in the city, so I'm not terrified of getting around alone. I pay no attention to strangers and, at the same time, have my eyes always open to the dangers of the city. And I look tough in my urban rebel boots and black leather, and my punk hair often with different colors, but blue is my fave. I kept my Instagram set on public, and I never really worried or cared who followed me. I liked the attention of being an Instagrammer. In retrospect, I should have been much more careful now, but I was still a young college kid feeling indestructible. I posted frequently with selfies and with friends wherever we were. I like to pose at different places and give attitude. I posted many of my stories, which you probably know allows Instagrammers to share photos and videos to their story for 24 hours. In these stories, I recorded my daily treks around the city campus, drinking coffee or waiting for the subway, looking very cool, or flipping off a train as it passed. You know, just the regular stuff of life where I was at the moment. One day, I remember uploading a video of me at my subway stop, and then looking at my stories to see who had viewed them. I typically get over 100 views. Most of the people I know from the university and old friends from high school, but one account stuck out in particular because I didn't know him, and he wasn't in the age demographics of the rest of my followers. He was a guy in his mid-40s. He had a lot of crazy selfies of himself at weird angles and strange random pictures of who knows what. He had viewed every one of my stories, which was odd for an old guy. But I didn't think much of it and continued with my commute to school and home again. It wasn't until late that night that I got an Instagram notification that that man requested to be on my direct message list. I opened his message and it was brief, as if it was written by a child saying just, "Hi," and an emoji of a yellow smiley face. I found this definitely weird and not very interesting, quite frankly, so I didn't respond. I was curious enough to check his profile to see who he was. Maybe he was someone I did know. But that was hard to discern from his username because it was Mike 2020, and his page only had selfies. Most of that was just a close-up at crooked angles. It was hard to recognize a distinct person at all. Baggy eyes, bald head, splotchy skin cheeks. That is the best I could make out. He had like only 5 followers, and he was following like 500. And from what I could tell, most of them were teenage girls and a handful of celebrity women. I decided he was a weirdo, deleted his message request, blocked his account, and went to sleep. The following day, I took the subway to class as usual, but when I got off at the campus stop, I got this bizarre feeling that someone was following me. It was just a gut feeling as I saw no one actually behind me. I stopped and pretended to tie my shoe just to survey the platform and let some passengers clear the area to ensure I wasn't being followed. The platform was jammed with students, and I didn't see anyone who worried me, so I thought it was just some anxiety or nerves that sometimes plagued me. However, as the platform cleared and I stood up, that greasy creep from my Instagram stood between me and the exit, maybe 15 feet away, glaring at me in the scariest demeanor. I felt trapped and now alone on the platform. My stomach twisted in knots, and I thought I would pass out from fright. My head spun, looking for an escape, and my eyes went into black and white as if I were to lose consciousness. I didn't know if I was going to vomit or pass out. My blood pressure skyrocketed as he took 2 steps toward me. My feet were as in concrete. I couldn't move. I wanted to run, but I couldn't. People started to enter the platform, but they just walked past me. I was gasping for breath and praying someone would see my distress and help me. He stepped closer, just feet away, when I could turn to run. As I turned, I looked directly into a woman's eyes and in the most quivering voice, pleaded, "Help me! I'm being stalked by that man!" In that second, I realized how panic-stricken I was and how much danger I was in. The woman instantly comprehended my dilemma and stepped between me and the creep, and in an authoritative voice said, "One step more, and I will call the police." Her voice was so firm and direct he froze, and others on the platform stopped and took notice. She stood with her hand in a protective stance before me as I crumpled to the floor. The train came, and the man stepped on, and the door closed behind him, and he was gone. The woman helped me and brushed me off, saying, "You are safe now that he is gone." I said thank you. I'm so very grateful. But already in my mind, I wondered how he found me on my Instagram and if he would find me again. I no longer post my every move and seldom where I go.